productions, as well as National Geographic TV and film, and onward with many, many different crews have come and gone out of here, and I can sit down, turn everything on, and guarantee an effect within 5 minutes.
Fantastic.
So whatever they're reading is maybe so old that they just don't bother researching. That's what I feel.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I totally agree, and I think we can clearly demonstrate without any shadow of a doubt that, we've got multiple experiments filmed, as you've said, for TV companies. You've had the military come to see you. And again, just to mention the website, which we forgot to mention earlier on, it's www.drjudywood.com for the stuff that we're talking about in relation to 9/11. And John, if you want to give your own websites just now, if the listeners want to note them down.
Oh, for sure, folks. It's www.hutchisoneffect.ca.
Okay, great. And we mentioned that we took a trip to Ground Zero in New York, actually yesterday, and we did film a couple of interesting things. We only had a few hours there, but even in that time, we were able to observe a few things. I think Judy was going to say a few words about that.
Yes, we even stopped at the visitor center there and met some wonderful young folks, very energetic, who were asking questions, and noted the fuming and thought maybe that had to be from blasting last summer, but that didn't make sense to them. After they said it, it just didn't make sense. But they also noted the lack of material on 9/11 after the towers went away, and they never had a good answer for that. And I really admired them for thinking, for asking themselves what they see and what they understand. The most striking thing I can remember from yesterday is my sore throat. At various points around the complex as we walked, I'd hit a pocket of something that really made my throat hurt terribly. And we also saw puffs of fumes coming out of the ground, dirt trucks coming and going with what looked to be lush topsoil. When you drill into bedrock, why would you have wet topsoil? Surely would not be something you'd want to drive on because it'd be slippery, like muck. There was not a gravel road. It was this bright reddish-brown dirt, very lush. So they're hauling dirt in and out still. They're behind schedule. They're not down to the bottom. They go backwards. It seems to be the dirt comes in beginning of the week and gets moved out at the end of the week, and they start the next cycle all over again.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't actually see the dirt being trucked in, but they were doing various interesting things, sorting operations. It seemed to be mixing what they were digging out of the ground with the excavator's shovel with the kind of dirt. It kind of seemed to be stirring it around, and we actually did video this, and hopefully we're going to post this video sort of hopefully within the next 24 hours. So if the listeners do go to the website and have a sort of look round there, you hopefully will find this video, and you can see one of the very interesting things that I filmed was a hosing down of a cable from a crane with a big fire hose, and it wasn't just like a squirt. It was quite a big gush of water over a few tens of seconds. And the cable was dangling from a big crane. It wasn't laying on the ground. It was just straight dangling. So, what would be your comments on all of that, John?
Well, it seems that if that's what's going on there, it seems like there's some kind of infection of some type, or something unusual happening there. Because if Judy's walking around there and getting sore throats, there's some kind of reaction or chemical reaction going on there. Right, and Bankers Trust, as we know, had that big gash in the front, which they repaired. And then they started taking the building apart. Why would they repair it and then take the building apart? And they're still working on taking the building apart while we were there. They probably have about half of it gone. It's about 20 stories left. But with the beams they replaced the damaged ones with, the missing, there's just a void that had been in the middle of the building. There's a tremendous amount of rust on those brand new beams that were used to replace the old ones with. That's not good. That means there's a reaction in the steel or in the ground there that's causing that to happen, and when that starts to happen, especially where the contacts with the welding and main bolts are, that leads to structural failure.
And across from Building 7, where they're building yet another temporary path train station, I think that's the 4th temporary one they've built so far, it's before the steel beams even are put in place, they're rusting. This bright orange rust, it looks like it was spray painted on, but the beams are painted green. And the path train entrance we walked down through, there were some new beams that were painted last summer, and they're completely rusted through. It's just tremendous. It looks like it's been at the bottom of the ocean for 100 years.
Oh, those are the pictures you sent me about the beams there with the bolts?
Yes, we have some additional
pictures. They're all rust coming out of the paint?
Correct. There's paint and it's abrupt area where it's just super rusty.
Oh, I saw that, and it's like if that keeps on going like that, it'll fail.
Do you have the same kind of phenomenon in your own specimens, like stainless steel that might rust?
Actually, yes. Many of our samples have turned what appeared to be like rusting, and that's stainless steel metal, high-grade stainless, and the pitting in that goes in pretty deep. And there's like a reddish, rusty color look to them.
Pretty interesting to see that in stainless steel.
Yeah, steel, like we've had many different kinds of metal samples that would be even flaking apart. And those are the ones that seem to be going ahead in time.
I think we have some pictures of those on the new series that's up on my website.
Like we made hundreds, if not thousands, of metal samples over the years, and they're deposited in Germany, Japan, Los Alamos, of course, U.S. Pentagon, I believe, as well as in Toronto, Canada. And I gave away a number of them as gifts too, and they're being always analyzed, tested, and that. I got about 500 pounds, I think, here.
Whoa.
Wow. So I think it's fair to say that, we've got all the evidence, the physical evidence that you mentioned there. It's all around the world. You certainly haven't kept it secret. And I think, that brings us on to a couple of points as well. One is that I know, for example, some people have said to you, oh, John, this is incredible, which it is, of course. Why haven't you patented this? And I just wondered, why?
Well, I'm not interested in patents or even proving it. What I am doing is replicating old technology, basically. Okay. And even my team said, well, how can you patent an effect? But what I like doing, actually, is not to gain all this, like patents and all that on the free energy device I'm working on, or the levitation. What I like doing is inspiring kids out there when I do these experiments through the television people and that. And that's the premise of my new upcoming network TV show they are working on right now. It's different episodes we'll be covering are pretty fantastic and pretty demanding, and we have a fairly good team. We'll be doing the levitation as well as trying to replicate the Philadelphia experiment. And
interesting.
Some of the time experiments that were done on the South Pole.
I think we'll have to leave the listeners to explore those topics. They are very, very interesting, though. And I think, just to go back, sorry, you were going to say about the energy, Judy.
When might that series be out where folks will be able to see it?
Well, we had a meeting, phone conference, actually, a couple of days ago. Now, our main sponsors are going to start working on something. A proposal is supposed to be in maybe this day. A draft of something.
Neat.
Our producer's been working on this, or producers have been working on this for a number of years. It looks like it's going to become to reality. So I'll be doing a lot of different things, as well as my partner, and be more media exposure for it, and hopefully it will inspire the kids, the next generation of inventors, scientists, and that to go out and explore. That's
Terrific.
The theme of what I'm doing, so that's why I'm really not into patents.
Terrific. And yeah, the idea of getting energy out there free or nearly free and clean, and there's so many things to be discovered with it.
so much, Judy. I mean,